You can spam abilities, deal way more damage with supers, and move extremely fast. So here are 27 obscure tricks in Destiny 2. I'm Marshix, and you can move really fast. The Weave Walk aspect allows you to go into this ethereal form by pressing a button. If you activate this while moving with Eager Edge, you will maintain that momentum and go really fast. Then you can continue to enter and exit Weave Walk to keep that going. I found it works best if you Eager Edge and immediately swap weapons, then quickly press jump and Weave Walk. This allows you to cross really far gaps and build up a lot of speed. You will slow down if you do this multiple times in the air, but if you skip off the ground occasionally, that's never a problem. And Weave Walk is also broken when using the new lightsaber. While you're in Weave Walk, you aren't supposed to be able to interact with anything, but if you have the lightsaber equipped, you can still attack while you're in the Weave Walk form. So you can just get right up into someone's face, and then one-shot them with the lightsaber while you're basically invincible. You can fly up really high with Golden Gun? Well, if you have the Ascension aspect on Prismatic and you pop your Golden Gun super, you can spam your Ascension over and over and over about 6 or 7 times, allowing you to go really high. And this also works with the Silk Strike super, and it lasts a little bit longer, which lets us sometimes do one more Ascension. And if you throw in Balance of Power, you can stack up a bunch of threaded specters into one spot, and then shoot them to spawn a ton of threadlings. About 30% of this game is Eververse, and the other 70% is collecting motes and banking them. But did you know that the powerful attraction mod on your class item can pick up certain types of motes from a distance? Just activate your class ability, and everything around you will be sucked up. It doesn't work in some activities, but it does work in Gambit, Haunted Altars, the Avalon mission, and the intel in the new Lawless Frontier activity. In the Lawless Frontier, you may come across this objective where you have to carry a heavy box. If you sprint, you'll instantly drop the box, so you're supposed to just walk and shoot. However, if you have a sword equipped, you can jump and swing in the air to move around the map really fast without dropping the box, basically negating this otherwise awful section. The Aeon Adapter set gives you an AoE damage resist each time you get a kill with an explosive weapon, but you actually don't have to get a kill to activate this. This will also proc by shooting stasis crystals. So if you're a stasis titan, you can easily keep this active 100% of the time, and you don't even really have to do anything. You can make all Warlock turrets deal way more damage. Warlocks recently got a buff, making all of their turrets count as grenades. This means they deal more damage if you run a high grenade stat. They can activate mods like Firepower to spawn orbs. They activate fragments, allowing them to apply jolt or give you volatile rounds. And they even benefit from exotics like Verity's Brow. This will double the damage of your grenades by getting weapon kills that match that element. So on a Solar Warlock, you can get 5 solar kills to double the strength of your Hellion turret, which turns out to be better than the exotic designed for Hellion. The new heat weapons allow you to vent your weapon at any time and cancel that vent. Because of this, we can activate reload perks like Kill Clip and Heal Clip without having to wait for the full reload animation, making it much more forgiving than our other weapons. And if you didn't know, all of these weapons have a built-in reload perk. On your ammo bar near the end, there is this section that's separate from the rest. If you press reload while the heat is in this area, you will perform a perfect vent, allowing it to cool down a little bit faster. This crappy super can actually hit way harder than you think. In the test range, Hammer of Soul deals 212 impact damage and around 180 damage from each explosion. However, if you proc Knockout by breaking a shield or getting a melee kill, it will increase your melee damage and, for whatever reason, Hammer of Soul too. The impact stays at 212, but the explosions deal over 400 damage each, which is more than double what it was doing before. So against big bosses where this can hit multiple of those explosions, it's pretty good. A lot of bosses have immunity shields to force you to do certain mechanics, but you can get around some of these shields simply by making a sunspot. Bosses like the Hive Wizard and the K1 Solo Op, or the Taken Cabal in the Salt Mines, will lose their shields if they just touch a sunspot, and Hammer of Soul will instantly spawn a sunspot, making it the best option for speedrunning some activities. But that's not the only sunspot cheese, because sunspots also increase the duration of your super, and since Phoenix Cradle will give your allies the sunspot buff too, if they pop their supers, they will also last longer. So your Warlock friends can have really long Chaos reaches, or any other roaming super like Stormcaller, which actually does great damage now. The Matai Doxia exotic for Warlock now increases the damage of your Needlestorm super, but for some reason it also increases it even further based on your grenade stat. So maximize grenade and super stats to turn Needlestorm into Thunder Crash. Lumina is able to give people the Blessing of the Sky buff to increase their damage by 35%, which is really good. But what if I told you you don't need Lumina to get this buff? If you equip Boots of the Assembler and place an Empowering Rift, you can give yourself the same damage buff just by walking in and out of your rift. And Blessing of the Sky has a secret ability. While you have this buff, whether it comes from Lumina or Boots of the Assembler, you will gain an additional 100 class ability stat. As you can see, I have 100 class stat, then when I place my rift while I have the blessing, it gives me a full overshield as if I had 200 class stat. For some reason, if you use Devil's Ruin on a suspended target, it will apply Scorch and quickly trigger an ignition, as well as igniting the target whenever it dies. I don't know why this happens, but it's really good, especially when using Weaver's Trance to chain suspend things to make them all explode. And that new exotic makes it even better. Blastwave Striders is one of the worst exotics in the game, but you can make it slightly better by using this trick. Normally, you slide to shoot out a bunch of stasis crystals that go all over the place, but we want them to be near enemies, not on the moon. However, if you slide and immediately activate your charged melee, the crystals will not spread out as much, making it much more likely to hit your target. Still not good though. Microcosm deals a ton of damage to shields, but if you pair this with the TechSec 2-piece bonus, it will instantly break shields. Without the armor, it does 97 per shot, but with the armor, it goes up to 290 per shot, which basically breaks any elemental shield instantly. And with that in mind, I tested it against subjugators since those take more damage from Microcosm, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to work. Icebreaker has a perk that ignites enemies who are slowed or frozen, but for whatever reason, this also triggers ignitions on stunned barrier champions, and on subjugators once they enter their second phase. Vex Caliber works differently when fighting Vex. First off, it deals 25% more damage to Vex enemies, and just by hitting them with the melee, they will become disoriented, preventing them from shooting for a few seconds. Arc Soul can give you overshields. If you have Manticore equipped and you're hovering in the air, dealing damage will give you an overshield, and this works with any source of damage, which includes Warlock summons like Arc Soul and Hellion, as well as any damage over time effect like Area Denial grenade launchers. Shoot Tulu is the perk that picks up ammo breaks by shooting them, but if you have a weapon that deals splash damage like a hand cannon with explosive rounds or a rocket sidearm, you can pick up the bricks from much further away, making it so you barely have to aim. And it works with certain damage perks like kinetic trimmers, so the entire kinetic shockwave will pick up any ammo it touches. You can farm tons of Bright Dust really fast and with little effort. The new order system is sort of like bounties, but you don't have to go to the tower to pick them up, and you can pay Glimmer to re-roll them. Each one of these will give you XP and Bright Dust, and you can complete these activities anywhere in the game, including places like Shirochi that have a lot of enemies that you can respawn over and over. So just load up Last Wish, input this code to teleport to Shirochi, then just go work on your orders until you have a bunch stacked up, and turn them in for a ton of Bright Dust. Common orders give 10 Bright Dust, legendary orders give 100 Bright Dust, and my exotic order gave me 2 boxes that were 200 each. In about 15 minutes, I got over 200 Bright Dust just by doing this method, so it'll still take a while to afford anything, but this is way better than the old system. In a previous video, I showed off how Two-Tailed Fox can instantly give you max stacks of aggregate charge on other weapons, but the big downside there is that you have to use Two-Tailed Fox. However, a good weapon to pair with aggregate charge is Tractor Cannon. This will apply a strong weaken effect for the entire team, which counts as 1 debuff, and it will also suppress for a second debuff. Then you just need to apply 1 more with literally anything, and you'll get maximum stacks. And it lasts for like 10 seconds. Still worse than bait and switch though. Izanagi's Burden allows you to condense your magazine into 1 powerful shot. But years ago, this got nerfed, making its reload animation always take forever. But as of this week, it is once again affected by reload speed buffs, so you can run kinetic loader mods, become amplified, or just use Lunafaction boots, and your Izanagi swaps will become much faster. Hierarchy of Needs can make these circles in the air, and when anyone shoots through it with a bow, it will shoot out additional projectiles. And while it says bow, it also includes crossbows, tether, and believe it or not, buried bloodline. Even though this is a sidearm, it looks like a crossbow, and I guess that's all the game checks for. Mobius Quiver just got an update, so while your super bar is draining, you gain a massive increase to all bow damage, including heavy bows like Leviathan's Breath and crossbows. So now you can shoot a tether to debuff the boss, then shoot your heavy weapon to deal big chunks of damage, then when your super gets low, finish it off with the other tether. And Orpheus Rig gives you more energy for a third tether and more time to shoot your weapons. Fighting Lion has always been a meme of a weapon, but it turns out it's kinda busted right now. Howl of the Storm allows us to summon stasis crystals with our melee. Breaking those stasis crystals with Tectonic Harvest will spawn stasis shards, which feed back into our melee, essentially giving us infinite melees, if you have this fragment. Now, Fighting Lion will instantly reload itself if you defeat a target dealt damage by a grenade. And for whatever reason, all of these stasis crystals count as a grenade for this, which means you can spam your melees, and each time you shatter them with Fighting Lion, it'll reload itself, so you can continue to spam crystals and never have to reload. Just don't miss. You can suspend an entire room with just one bullet, but you'll have to click on this video to see how. Thanks for watching, I'm Marshix, and I'll see you next time.